Hi guys, thank you for joining me. It's Helen Lingard here, and I wanted to do this hangout because I cannot emphasize how great the power of your mindset is, and it's really important. It's absolutely fundamental that you realize how important. Sorry, I can see the glass is shining off my glasses. How important the power of your mindset is. So I want to share with you a little bit about me. So I grew up in a family of three, and the reason I'm sharing this story is because I want to show you how I've transformed myself, my mindset, by doing what I'm going to share with you tonight. So I really want you to understand where I'm coming from. So I grew up in a family of three girls. I was the youngest, and for whatever reasons, I was very insecure, lacking confidence. I was just introverted, and consequently, I was bullied at school. So I've been a victim of bullies several times, but the first one was at school, and my parents did whatever they could to help. They went to the school, and I was transferred from form to form. And anybody who's watching this, who's at school with me, may remember me being transformed from form to form. Maybe it's just me that remembers it. And gosh, look at my hair. Excuse my hair, needs a cut. And so I was transferred from form to form to form. Well, not trying, but about 3 different forms. And basically, when somebody who is a victim of bullying is transferred from form to form, as I discovered, or class to class, whatever you want to call it, the bullies in that class, i.e. the people who are feeling insecure, will just pick on that person because they can almost smell a victim. And a victim can be anybody who's not empowered, who's not feeling the best, who's not very confident. So it could be somebody who's really, really attractive, that they could be the victim of a bully. And I was a very pretty young girl. But because I wasn't feeling empowered, I was prime fodder for the bullies. So I spent, I don't remember how long, but it was several years being bullied, just feeling dreadful and being bullied, and I didn't enjoy school one bit. So as I got older, I got more confident. And I have to say, a few years ago, I was looking at things I'd achieved or not achieved, because we tend to focus on what we haven't achieved. And I look back and I thought, oh my goodness, despite me being bullied, and despite me being insecure, etc., I achieved all my goals, which were pass my driving test first time, which was a rarity. I don't know if it still is now, but it was a rarity back then. Most of my friends failed first time. I set my goal, and I got all I needed at school, which wasn't much, but I got enough to do my nursing. So I achieved my nursing, and I also traveled and had children. And after each one of those goals was achieved, I was like, oh my goodness, I achieved my goals. This is incredible. I can't believe I achieved them. So just to emphasize that despite me being very insecure, I did achieve my goals. So as I got older, I became more confident. And then about 7 years ago, or actually 8 years ago, what started was a really, really bad time. And it started with one of my close relatives dying suddenly in the UK. And I'm British, but I live in New Zealand. And so that came as out of the blue. That was just awful. And then we decided, me and my children, I'm a single mum, I was back then too, we decided to go back to the UK for Christmas, spend it with my family. And just a few weeks before Christmas, I discovered that my job was no longer. So just before I was about to go to the UK and spend Christmas with my family, grieving for losing my relative, my job was established. And it was about this time that I started to have health issues, which were associated with stress. So fast forward, we went back for Christmas and came back in January, and I started 2 jobs. I was doing my old one part-time till they wound it down, and my new one, and it was all too much for me. And also what started was a year of bullying. A year of bullying by my manager, not my manager, but various people bullied me for a year, and it was just horrendous. And I was very ill through stress and through grieving. And I went through a year of this, being bullied, and just I'd been introduced to The Secret the year before, but I hadn't really immersed myself in it. I hadn't really acted upon it. And I don't regret this year I spent bullying at all, because it's made me the person I am now, which is stronger and wiser, and is able to show other people, single parents or whoever you are, whether, you know, I'm just talking to anybody who's been through challenges on insecurity, because, you know, this is why you need to work on your mindset. So in the December, things came to a head, and I left that role, and I was paid out because I mentioned a PG in personal grievance because I'd been treated so badly. So I left the role, and my first thought was, I'll do a degree in psychology because I love people. I've been a nurse and I love people. I thought I'll do a degree in psychology. And then as I got my paperwork together, I was thinking, oh God, no. And I just realized 3 years in a degree, I live away from my family, and I had 2 children that were dependent on me, and looking at the finances and everything, I thought, I cannot do a degree. Just the expense and the debt of being a single parent, whatever. So after a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, I decided not to do the degree. So I can't remember exact details, but I was looking on the internet for something, and I've always been somebody who, years ago, I've always been somebody who's looked at empowering books and looked at being free and traveling, and, you know, I looked at the life of an entrepreneur basically because I always wanted to be free, but I actually hadn't achieved that at that stage. And so I got into personal development, and the more I invested my time and energy in it, the more I loved it. It was just like a breath of fresh air. And I'd meet all these people who were like me, like-minded, and wanted to, you know, make a positive change in the world. And it was quite incredible. So I want to share with you how, because basically I've gone from somebody who was very shy, introverted. If you've read in my blog, you'll have seen this. I remember I was about, I don't know how old I was, maybe it must have been, 11, 12, in school one day, and the teacher suggested that we be sat next to boys. And at the time, we were all sat next to girls. And I climbed under the desk crying rather than be sat next to a boy. That was the type of person I was when I was 11 or 12. I was petrified. And it continued. You know, I was just very shy. And I've gone from that person, and as I've got older, I've become more and more assertive, partially because my father was a very assertive man, and I've got part of him, but also I think partly it's the woman that turned, because I spent so much of my youth being told what to do, having other people having to speak up for me, being the person that I couldn't be, that I was the woman that turned. So I got very assertive, stroke aggressive as I got older. And in fact, I used to embarrass my children because I would go in and to shops if I didn't get good customer service, and I would read the riot act, and I would be shouting and talking very loudly because I thought that was the only way I could get my point across. And fortunately, because I've invested myself, or, you know, immersed myself in personal development, that has changed. So I spend a great deal of my time, and I cannot tell you how much this has helped me. So like I say, if you're a single parent, or you're introverted, or you're shy, and you just don't know how to get out of it, I'm going to share some strategies today. And basically, one of the things I've done, I've been immersing myself in personal development for some years, but the last year, I saw an interview with somebody in my business called Paolo, who mentioned 30-30-30, and I've got a blog post which I will share with you later that mentions that. And it's about reading empowerment material, watching empowerment material for 30 minutes a day for 30 days. And you see your mindset change. And what you do, you continue that 30-30-30 for always, you know, because it's consistent. It's consistency is the key. 30 days is like a habit. 21 days is a habit. But when you've watched for 30 days or done it for 30 days, that starts the habit. So you keep going. And I cannot tell you the challenges that got me through. You know, I've been through a lot of challenges, both as a single parent and in life in general. You know, I lost my sister. 8 years ago. I lost my dad 4 years ago. I lost my dog 14 months ago. And so it's all been very challenging, and life is challenging. And as a single parent, it's even more challenging. So in the morning, I start in the morning by waking up early, and I listen to Les Brown. I listen to Abraham Hicks. I listen to anything empowering I can. I listen to one of my audiobooks, and I make sure I've had about an hour of empowering material before I get up. And that includes doing a gratitude log, writing down things you're grateful for, etc., etc., etc. And so I make sure I do that, and I cannot tell the difference it's made. And I'm going to share a little secret with you. My fur baby, my dog, passed away about 14, 15 months ago. And it really knocked me for six, her going, just really did. And so I was going down a dark path, having lost her. And I know, to anyone who's lost a fur baby, you'll know how it feels, because basically your fur babies, your dogs, your pets are everything, especially when you're a single parent. Because when you're a single parent, or when you're on your own or whatever, your animals are everything to you. And so, because they're like your companion. And so when Zoe passed away, I really went down a dark path. I didn't like where I was going at all. And people said, well, it's natural enough, the dog's with you 24/7. So but I hadn't been feeling that way for a long time, not since I invested in personal development. I really hadn't felt down. And so I just want to share with you the power it does. And so I looked at all sorts of options. And in the, it would have been late last year, I thought, oh, okay, I was really at my wit's end. And so I got some antidepressants. I started taking them. Only lasted 2 days. I couldn't take them any longer. But so they didn't work for me. Well, I said they didn't work for me. I didn't like the effect they had on me. What I did, and what I've done consistently since, which has helped me, and I know it can help you, is the gratitude, affirmations. How can my day get even better than this? What wonderful things can happen to me today? How can I achieve this? And ask yourself positive, empowering questions. So it's gratitude log, positive, empowering questions, reading for your 30-30-30. And I cannot tell you, and like I say, whether you're a single parent, whatever your situation, insecurity, it's about getting out there. And the other thing I do, which really helps me, is I get over myself. I'm out here on the camera. I do a video every single day and put it on Facebook, and I share it everywhere else, because it's just so empowering. And let me just check. Someone sent me let me just do something a second. And so it's so important to, I can't tell you, to do empowering stuff. Let me just do this. So I do strongly, I can't tell you, if you're struggling with anything, or if you're a single parent, or you're insecure, empowering material, read my blog, workwithhelenlingard.com. It's all about empowering people. I'm passionate about empowering people and speaking up for the underdog, because I was the underdog. I was the one that, I had some friends when I was at school who would speak up for me. They would say to the bullies, oh, leave her alone, she's okay. And they did their best. And so for me now, because I know what it's like to have been bullied, I know what it's like to feel, to not be able to speak up. I used to go out, my friends used to, I used to be mistaken for younger than I was, because I was so shy and introverted, whatever. And as much as I apparently look younger than I am. So being that strong person, being that empowered person is so important for me. And I'm here to inspire you, to empower you. Like I say, whatever you've been through, bullying, insecurity, single parenthood, I know what it feels like, because I've been there. And one thing I did before, actually this was before I got into, it must have been partly through me getting into personal development, because when my marriage broke up, I didn't have many friends. Our friends kind of didn't know what to do, so they kind of didn't do anything for a while. So I had to go out there and make new friends, and I did. And I continue to do so. I'm the one who will always ask questions, or I'm the one who'll see somebody stand on their own and go and say hello to them, because I know what it's like to be that person. So I'm just looking at my notes if there's anything else I can share with you. And if you've got a business and you're dreading on camera because you're shy, just get out there, share your story. And to me, I think that's a way of empowerment, because when you share your story, you realize how many people, I've shared some of my stories, and it's only when you share your story, you realize how many people are out there who resonate with you, who can say, oh yes, that's me. Oh, I love the fact that, and I've had so many people say that to me. So I do encourage you to share your story and do the rest. Gratitude, be grateful, even if it's food in the fridge, whatever it is, be grateful. Because I spoke to somebody the other day on Facebook who's feeling a bit down, and I said to them, before you go to bed tonight, write down all the things you have to be grateful for, because that will really help you. And they did, and they said it's just fantastic, it just lifts you so much. So I think that's it, really. Very short call tonight, but I hope it's helped you. Do send me any questions you like about single parenthood, about bullying, about being introverted, about being shy, because I'd love to help you, and I've got experience. I've been there, done that, so I do understand what you're going through, and I'd love to help you. So I will, let me just check my notes if there's anything else I've left out. I don't think so. Like I say, as I, when my Zoe passed away, reading empowering stuff, gratitude, getting out there, exercise, making yourself, when you feel shy and insecure, sometimes you don't want to go places, but I can only tell you that getting out there, really making yourself go to places and making yourself talk to people will do so much for you. So with that, I think I've done mine. So it's 30, 30, 30. Remember, you start off, just continue. And if you want, if you'd like to, if you've got a challenge you're going through and you're getting through it, and you'd like to share your story and empower others, then please do get in touch, because you can blog. And blog is a great way to share your story. It's therapeutic. You get yourself out, you get it out there, and it really helps. I've written my stories, and it's like, oh, got it out there, and it so helps you. So I think that's all for tonight. Do let me know any questions about, let's say what I've mentioned earlier. And yeah, join me next week. I'll be back next week. I might be a bit earlier next week, but I'll see you then. So take care. Thanks for joining me.